Hey everybody, Shane here, and today I'm going to talk about one simple way to pray that anyone can do. So a lot of people don't pray as much as they'd like because they think it's got to be some formal kind of thing. They think they have to bow their heads and close their eyes and put their hands together and say all the right words and be very, very serious. And while there's a time and place for the more serious and formal prayer activities, that's just not going to cut it for most of us in everyday life. In our fast-paced world, we need a prayer that will quickly bring us from disarray to centered, or we might just need to lift our hearts to Jesus on a moment's notice. Either way, the ancient practice known as breath prayer is both immediate and effective. Breathing's unconscious most of the time, and when we get worked up or stressed out, our breathing increases along with our blood pressure. But when we consciously focus on our breathing through breath prayer, we force ourselves into a calmer state. And because we're praying, we are intentionally tapping into the power of the Spirit to guide us and to bring us one step closer to God through our next actions. So what exactly is breath prayer and how is it done? What it is and how it's done are extremely simple. All a breath prayer is a prayer you say while breathing. Sounds pretty simple. And how it's done is just as simple. When you breathe in, you say a name for God, and when you breathe out, you say your short prayer. For me, an example that I use almost daily for my kids, or when dealing with my kids, is I breathe in, and I say, God of peace, and I breathe out, and I say, grant me peace. Now, you can try to say it out loud, but if that distracts you because it does sound kind of weird, you can just say it in your mind. So a simple breath prayer just goes, as I breathe in, I say, God of peace. As I breathe out, I say, grant me peace. And I repeat that over and over again. And this works really well if I'm stressed out because I'm all agitated and I'm flying around like crazy. But I stop and I just say, God of peace, grant me peace. You don't want the name of God or your prayer to be any longer than it takes to breathe. And the great thing about this prayer is that you can do it when you least feel like praying. In fact, that's when it's most helpful. Kids driving you nuts? God of peace, grant me peace. Feel like slapping someone? My stronghold, grant me strength. And not the strength to slap the mess out of them. Feeling alone? God of love, hold me close. Hold me close. The best part of breath prayer is that they require nothing of you except that you take your focus off the moment long enough to put it onto God. By taking your focus off of the moment and putting it onto God, it allows you to connect with Him, if even for a moment. But what you'll realize is that the more you do it, the longer you stay connected. So I challenge you to do a breath prayer at least once a day for a week. You're going to find that once you start doing it, you're going to then do it without thinking, kind of like breathing. I hope the breath prayer helps you out this week. It helps me out all the time. This is Shane, and I hope I've helped you take one step closer to God.